Hi guys, it's Lawrence again. I'm going to go to part 2 now. I just went through part 1. I went through the different vectors, and then I went through some text functions. And so next, what I wanted to do, I'll show you one last thing I forgot to show you with text that is awfully handy, for me anyway. You can go through and let's just go ahead and type in WoodNet. Again, let's find a nice chunky font like this one right here. We're going to go through it with the outline button. Make it nice and big. And again, all it's done at this point, once we get rid of the bit, so you can see it, is it created vectors around the font itself, just like the vectors I showed you before. But one thing that I didn't show you how to do before is you can go through and can select that cutout bit, which is the 1/8 inch straight bit, and you can cut letters out. There's a million uses for doing this so that you can cut letters out and use them for things. It's just a really handy feature. I just wanted to show you guys that. Okay, last thing on that. Okay, so the next thing is, again, with no extra software that you have to pay for or anything, I want to show you how you can get patterns. Now, the first way you can get patterns is you can use the patterns that come with the machine. Those are listed. All you do is click this little shell, which is the pattern button. You can come over here to Basic. And when you do that, it comes with a whole number of, I don't know, several dozen different patterns that already come with the machine. Now, I probably use these things about, 3 times in the, I don't know how many hundreds of carves I've done. They're just not patterns that really interest me, but they do for a lot of people. But to show you how it works, you can just literally find the pattern over here on the left hand, or on the right hand side. Then you click it on the left hand side. And in this case, you got a fleur-de-lis. So you can do all the other things you can do with the vectors and things. You can resize things. You can move them where you want to. Some other things you can do with them is you can flip and rotate them. So if I want to rotate it 90 degrees, I can do so. If I want to flip it, which did nothing at all because it's the same on both sides, then I can do so. And then other things you can do is you can change the depth that you want to cut things at. So if I want to make it 1/4 of an inch deep, but I only want to make it and I want it to rise all the way to the top, then I can do that. You can see it's going to cut 1/4 inch deep, and that fleur-de-lis is going to come all the way to the surface of the wood. Now, if I want it to be 1/4 of an inch deep, but not be that high, I can start changing it. And it's kind of hard to see with this, but it's actually lowering when I change this height. There, you can start seeing it lowering down there. You can actually change your height. So that's just one more thing that you can do. And it's a pretty simple thing. These are patterns. And again, it comes with, several dozen rosettes and shells and everything else, which are quite useful. And a lot of people get by making cars just with these. Okay, so that's the first way. The second way, you can go ahead and go on to many different sites, including the Carvewright site, and you can get free patterns. I have no clue how many thousands of patterns are on the Carvewright site for free. I personally have put on probably 200 or 300 for free that I've made from different places. Oh, it's being really slow because I'm uploading the first video onto YouTube right now. And you can go into patterns in the Carvewright site, and you can go into pattern sharing. And you can see, so some of these have hundreds. Some of them just have, 1 or 2 or 3 in each one. But you've got pages and pages and pages of patterns. Just see if I can find some and just give you some examples. Well, I'm trying to find the ones where I know I've done some. Let's go into plants and wildlife. That'll be fine. There's not much in here. And people will usually have a picture in there that you can start seeing some of the patterns that they're offering up for free. And again, some of them are very intricate. Some of them are fairly flat, but some of them are really, really good patterns that are made from grayscale or from whatever else. So here's a rose. Here's some cranes. Let me see if I've got them in here. And sure enough, I do. Here's the cranes one right there. So you can go in there, you can download them for free as long as you register with Carvewright software. Again, it's just registering with the forum, just like the WoodNet. And then you can save it, and it saves it. Excuse me, I've got a sniffle in my nose here. It saves it instead of basic. It saves it up in favorites. And you can go through and find them this way. Now, I'm just giving you a little example here of all the patterns I've got. I don't know how many hundreds again are in here, but there's a lot. And I'll say this, I've never once in my life bought a pattern. So that tells you don't have to go out there and spend a lot of money to get some really nice patterns. So this one right here, these cranes, let me go ahead and draw it with let me go ahead and draw it at, I'm going to do it at 0.25, so I want to make it a 1/4 of an inch deep. You always want to do bit optimization, which just takes the bit into consideration, the shape of the bit. And then here you can see this pattern that would get carved out on the machine of 3 cranes, which again I think is a pretty nice thing to find. And that was just a pattern that someone offered up for free on another site. So that's another way you can get patterns. A second way. The third way that you can get patterns is you can pay for them. So excuse me while this takes a minute, and excuse the noise as it comes on the Carvewright main site here. Let me pause it as soon as it comes up. Okay, you can go into several different pages that sell patterns. I'm not going to show you the one that I actually sell patterns on here. I'm not doing this to sell stuff. But I will show you the main one, which is the Pattern Depot on the Carvewright site. And on this, there are literally thousands of patterns that people have posted. Some of them are expensive, some of them are cheap. They can vary from $20 for a pattern all the way down to just a couple dollars. Some of them are complete complete projects. But you can see like this eagle right here, which is pretty neat. On all these patterns on the Carvewright site, you can go into it and you can click on Try It, and then you can open it with the pattern file. Take just a minute for this thing to work here. And you can actually go in there without buying the file, if it's going to let me. I do it so rarely. Oh, there it is. So without buying the file now, I can go in there and actually bald eagle to try, because I'm not going to buy this. I just want to show you. You can go in there and save it as an actual pattern. I think I already did this once. So now I can go in there and actually try out this bald eagle. And again, just so I put it in there twice. So here's bald eagle to try. Now I couldn't actually carve this because I didn't buy the pattern. This is just to try it out to see if I want to buy it and carve it. And it looks like it's an outstanding pattern of an eagle. It's got a lot of 3D parts to it and everything else. And how much was that pattern? It was, looks like $15. So it gives you an idea of what you can do to buy patterns. But again, I've never once in my life bought a pattern. So that's the second place. And there's 4 or 5 other sites out there that sell patterns that are specifically built for the kite. So these are all things that you can do to make patterns without actually spending a penny on extra software. Now I'm going to go ahead and move on. I'm going to pause this and start making another video, and I'm going to start showing you some of the things that you can do as soon as you buy a couple other pieces of software, which still keep the price of the Carvewright way under what it costs for other machines. So I'm going to go ahead and pause it, and I'll move on to the next video.